Hello, and welcome back to the Micro Advice Podcast, installation number 4. Today, we are here with Gautam Sandararajan, Senior Director of Global Professional Services at Skybox Security, a cybersecurity management firm based in San Jose, California. Gautam, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thanks for having me, Jim. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be able to spend some time with you and discuss professional services.
So, Gautam, you have about 8 years of experience leading professional services teams, and about 12 years prior to that, leading tech implementation. So, I take it that you've seen what works well and other areas that could be improved. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, I think my whole professional life's been spent in customer-facing roles. Yeah, I did work for large GSIs like IBM and Wipro, KPMG earlier in my career, and and then I was actually a customer for 2 years, so I did sort of experience life on the other side as well. Years I've been focused on driving and leading professional services in software companies. Yeah, so I think I have a good feeling for what things work well, what don't, and a lot of lessons learned over my rather long career at this point. Yeah.
Well, that's great. So, today I want to talk a little bit about the more technical side of professional services for younger SaaS companies. So the first question is, what sorts of key attributes have you seen make or help make professional services teams be successful?
Yes, I mean, so there's a lot of things obviously that go into a successful PS team. So, obviously the setup of the organization is very important. Should mirror what should mirror sort of the platform, the technologies. Having the right mix of skill sets is critical. The baseline is for any PS team to be successful, essentially to have set certain standards, processes, and methodologies that are uniformly followed throughout the practice. That way, things are predictable. As you bring in new team members, you're able to scale properly. And when things go wrong, you generally know where to look to help right the ship, so to speak. But in terms of attributes, hiring the right consultants with the right mindset, folks who are very customer focused, have an aptitude for change. Because working in customer facing environments, you have to be very quick on your feet. So those are some of the soft skills you need, and then obviously from a company standpoint, having the right org, the right methodologies, and standardization, I think is very important.
I really like that. A couple of the keywords you mentioned there that I picked up on and thought were critical were one, the change management piece, two, standardization, and then three, making sure kind of teeing up the customer for early success, as I understand it. So with that, something that I know a lot of companies need to focus on or do focus on in terms of hitting particular goals or metrics is customer adoption. So with that perspective in mind, how can the professional services team ensure or aim to ensure successful customer adoption early on in the engagement?
Yeah, so that's a very good question. I think adoption, at least in the last couple of jobs I've had in with software companies, adoption has been a sticking point. Oftentimes with complex software, sometimes the software becomes shelfware if they're not set up for success. So a couple of things I've learned help is essentially making sure that professional services is engaged prior to getting an SOW or a statement of work signed. Just work closely with the sales team to understand the customer's pain point during the selling process. You help work with the sales team to set the customer up to understand what value they'll get out of the software. So focus on your selling process and the customer's understanding of what they're buying, being more focused on value than on features and functionality. Really looking into the customer's business processes, doing workshops up front, whether it's paid or as part of the sales process, to sort of identify key success metrics that the customer feels will vindicate their purchase, or support the amount of money they've invested in the actual purchase. And then as you go into an implementation, staying true to those success metrics, having your user acceptance, etc., focused on those success metrics, and then obviously once you're deployed, having that constant touch to make sure that checking in with the customer to make sure that they're consistently gaining value. I think it's sort of what's required. So it's not sort of doing one thing and then the customer adopts the solution. You really have to uh, focus on a 360-degree view of the customer, the stakeholders, what they're looking to get from the platform, and then this continued touch points with the customer throughout their business as usual journey, as part of their customer journey, to make sure they are deriving value by measuring things like usage metrics, doing QBRs on a regular basis, just listening to the customer and seeing what value they're gaining from it.
Excellent. And when you say QBRs, you're referring to quarterly business reviews with the
Yeah,
customer?
yeah, just regular touch bases with the customer sponsors to look at tickets, to look at ongoing projects, to look at what accomplishments the company and the customer have made jointly, and also to look at other upcoming customer initiatives that help partner with them to joint roadmap. So those are key meetings to keep stay on top of with your customer to make sure that you understand the lay of the land at all times. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Thank you for that very detailed description. So, given all of those activities, it sounds like that is the holistic business value that the PS team can deliver to the customer during their project. Last week, I had spoke with a VP of customer success, and he had helped us understand the difference between what a good PS team and CS team, customer success team, does. So, given that, how can, in your opinion, how can a professional services team in their project tee up the customer success team for success, throughout the duration of the customer journey?
I mean, I think these terms PS, CS, they're all sort of merging in my viewpoint. I mean, I think customers don't really care what team or teams they're dealing with. They just sort of want a seamless customer journey with a regular set of contacts that they trust and know. So I think the first step to teeing up customer success teams for true success is breaking down the barriers between PS and CS. So the more silos you have, the more handoffs there are, the more chances you have of sort of causing challenges on the customer side and customer satisfaction issues. So I think that's sort of a philosophical mindset. We as vendors need to sort of get out of. Just having the silos between the pre-sales teams and the PS teams, and then between the PS teams and the customer success teams. I think there's no magic answer to that, but I think the more we sort of connect internally and present a united front, the better the customer experience is going to be. But all that being said, I think tactically you still have to deal with those handoffs. So I think making sure that you have proper checklists and you have a methodology to hand off in terms of what you're handing off, when you're handing off, providing the right context. I think those are really important things. At Skybox, we have standard questionnaires that we fill in. We set up meetings for our with our PS teams and our customer support teams to help affect a smooth transition. If it's a complex deployment, we'll schedule a call with the customer and the customer support team. Where we have TAMs, technical account managers, we have a checklist for those handovers as well. And then where we have managed services, it's a similar concept. So it's just making sure you have the right processes and the right, checkpoints to make sure that the handovers are seamless. Also, bringing in the customer success teams while professional services is closing out projects. So they have some parallel time working with the customer and professional services to understand the lay of the land. I think those types of things, the more parallel processing you do, and the more parallel joint efforts you have with the customer success team, the less painful the transition will be. So it's really just about breaking down those silos, following standard processes and methodologies, and making sure you include the customer success team at the right time. I think those are critical steps. In addition to that, also there's also things such as adoption services that you can sell for customers. Sometimes that for customers that don't, for example, have managed services, or what we call at Skybox resident engineers, and if customers don't have the right skill sets to perform care and feed of the platform, it's always good to propose PS consultancy on an ongoing basis, whether it's a proactive, reactive, on-site, off-site. There's different models you can put out there to have PS involved, post deployment as well, to help help set the customer up for success.
Boy, that's fantastic. Thank you so much. And as you were speaking, I have a ton more questions to ask around each of these topics because I feel like you touched on a lot of different areas that we could dig into further. So we're almost out of time for today. I would like to have you back for another session in the near future and dig in a little bit deeper because I feel like this aspect you mentioned about breaking down the barriers between the different silos in an effort to provide a better and smoother customer journey, I would like to dig into a little more. So thank you very much for being here with us today. For the listening audience, I do hope you've enjoyed this. If you have any questions for Gautam or myself, I'll put our contact information in the box below. Have a great week, and I look forward to seeing you again in the very near future. Bye for now.
Thanks, Jim. Thank you.
Thank you very much.